Today's video is a special one, because the movie that I am going to talk about has a very different concept compared to normal horror movies. Please watch this till the end. The name of the movie is The Boy, released on January 2016. It is directed by William Brent Bell. The movie has an IMDb rating of 6 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes it's just 30% fresh, and a Google audience rating of 4 out of 5. So, let's begin. So in the beginning of the movie we see a girl named Greta Evans, from America. She came here to the UK as she was hired as a nanny by the Shires. It was an isolated mansion, located in a remote village. So she removes her shoes, walks into the mansion and starts exploring the rooms. While exploring the mansion, she stumbles upon Malcolm. He was a local grocery deliveryman, providing weekly supplies to the Shires family. He was a nice and funny guy. She also noticed that she had left her shoes behind earlier. Mrs. Shire says that their son Brahms is a very playful child. They said that she has to take care of their son. We will be shocked to see that Brahms was actually a porcelain doll, and not a real breathing human. The Shires treats the doll as if it's their real son. Greta didn't believe it all and took it as a joke, but then gradually she comes to understand that the Shires weren't joking about the doll after all. Now she had to take care of the doll. On that same day evening, the Shires says that Brahms really liked Greta, and that Greta was the first nanny that Brahms liked. The Shires are going out of town for the next few days, so Greta has to take care of Brahms while they're gone. Before they left, the Shires listed out some weird rules that she had to follow, like changing clothes for the doll, playing Brahms' favorite music, reading out stories loudly, leftover food must never be thrown out, instead it must be stored in the fridge. And also she has to set rat traps outside the house, so the rats won't get in. Mr. Shire tells her that Brahms is a shy and timid boy. After the Shires left, Greta is all alone in the house. And, obviously she did not follow any rules. She then talks to her sister Sandy, where we come to learn that Greta had an ex-boyfriend named Cole. Cole was a rude and abusive person. Maybe Cole was the reason why she moved out of America, and he is still trying to locate her. While Greta was enjoying her time in the house, she started to notice that Brahms was shifting his place. After talking to Malcolm, she found out that the real Brahms died around 20 years ago, in a mysterious fire. Since then the Shires have been treating the doll as their son. Malcolm's relationship with Greta was going well, and on the same night he invited her to an informal date. So she takes out her favorite dress and jewelry, then goes for a bath. Here we can see her jewelry getting stolen. After the shower she finds that her dress is missing. Now she starts to feel that there's someone in the house. Then she checks everywhere, and finds the attic door open. As she entered the attic, suddenly someone just pushed the door shut behind her. Meanwhile Malcolm arrives and rings the doorbell several times, but Greta couldn't hear any of that in the attic. Then he gave up, and decides to leave. In the attic, Greta saw a mysterious figure, and fell unconscious. The next day morning, the attic door was open, and she gets out of the attic. She then immediately calls Malcolm. She tells him that she heard some weird noises from the walls. Malcolm replies that the real Brahms was a weird boy since his childhood. So here we feel that Brahms' spirit is actually in the doll. Okay, so the next day we can see that her missing shoes is kept at the doorstep of her room. She is now surprised. And goes to Brahms' room. She is shocked to see that the doll is sitting on the bed staring at her. And there was a sheet of paper kept near the doll. It was written with all the rules which she had to follow, for taking care of Brahms. After witnessing this, she is now terrified and quickly closes herself in her room. Suddenly the telephone rings, she attends the call, we can hear a child voice. Yes, it was Brahms indeed, telling her to come and play with him, and he will behave good. When she opens the door, we can see a sandwich on the floor. Clearly Brahms had made that sandwich for Greta. Now she started laughing very hard and now she understood that Brahms' spirit is inside the doll. Then Greta started following all the rules and took care of the doll. Around the same time we see Mr. and Mrs. Shire on a riverside, and they both walked towards the water, and drowned themselves, ending their lives. Before their death, they had written a letter for Brahms and Greta. It says something mysterious, like from now onwards Greta is yours. Next day Malcolm brings the letter to her, but she ignores it, we can see that she was fully dedicated in taking care of the doll. Nowadays she doesn't even get out of the house. Malcolm didn't felt good about that. Greta then explains to Malcolm that Brahms usually changes places, he does that when no one is watching him. She thinks that Brahms was a shy kid and didn't want to show up. Malcolm did not believe this at all, so for proof she kept the doll in a closed room, and they both go to another room and wait. When they return to the room, the doll had vanished. Malcolm was quite shocked. He says that Brahms could also be an evil spirit. He then reveals that 20 years ago when Brahms was actually alive, a girl named Emily came to play with him every week. By the time when he was 8 years old, suddenly Emily went missing. And when the cops found her body in a near jungle, her skull was crushed badly. Before the police came for investigation, Heelshear's house caught on fire and Brahms died. Greta then reveals her past story. She says that her boyfriend Cole abuses her a lot, and she got pregnant. Since then she decided to leave everything behind, and start with a new beginning. Hence she ended up taking care for a doll. Here she tries to refer the doll as her unborn child. Surprisingly, the very next day, Cole reached the mansion. He somehow found out her address from her family. Now he wants her to go back with him. He had even booked flight tickets for tomorrow. It seems that he had planned everything. Of course Greta did not want to leave, so she asks Brahms to help her out. That night, when everyone was sleeping, we can see blood dripping on Cole's forehead, probably from dead rats. Cole then gets up and checks everywhere. When he looks up, we can see that someone had written, "Get out," on the window. Initially he thought it was Greta's trick. Then he starts to get mad at her. He tries to snatch the doll. By that time Malcolm reached here. He tried to stop Cole from taking away the doll. But Cole manages to take the doll from her, and in a fit of anger, he smashed the doll onto the table. Suddenly the walls started shaking violently. Heavy noises can be heard. Then suddenly a mirror explodes into pieces, and Cole gets hurt. Behind the mirror area we see a man, slowly creeping out, wearing a porcelain mask. He then attacks Cole and kills him straight away. This mysterious man is none other than Brahms himself. Yes, you heard it, Brahms is actually still alive. Greta and Malcolm runs to the other room. But all the doors and exits seems to be sealed close. They knew Brahms is coming for them. Then they stumbled across a secret space between the walls and it led to a secret room. And this room is where Brahms had been living for all those years. Here we can see a doll in his room, which had Greta's new dress and her jewelry on. Greta then finds the last letter from the Heelshears. After reading it, she finds out that Heelshears purposely left her alone in the mansion with Brahms, so that they can be partners. Then Brahms jumps in suddenly, and Malcolm gets injured. Greta somehow found a way out, and ran away. Brahms shouts that he will kill Malcolm if she ran away. Still she didn't listen, and then she realizes she had to save Malcolm. So she decided to go back to the house. And she said that she have come here for Brahms. Greta had a screwdriver in her back pocket. She then starts imposing the earlier rules. Surprisingly Brahms obeys Greta and goes to sleep, but before sleeping he needs the goodnight kiss. And just before Brahms could kiss her, Greta takes out the screwdriver and cuts into his stomach. After some struggling, Brahms becomes unconscious. Greta and Malcolm escapes from the mansion swiftly. Just before the movie ends, we can see Brahms, who is still alive, fixing the porcelain doll. Now this hint points towards a sequel, that is, The Boy 2.
If you liked this video, and want more interesting content, please consider subscribing, and also click on the bell icon. You can also email me your own stories. I will feature it on my upcoming videos.